ladies and gentlemen. I stand here before you today as a representative of the youth of Australia. This speech that I'm about to read to you was actually put together by a man, Ilya Bilic, from Canberra. On 17 February 2008, the Albanian leaders of the breakaway Serbian province of Kosovo declared independence. Australia, alongside the United States of America, was one of the first nations in the world to grant recognition done without the backing of the United Nations and in clear violation of international law. We were promised by Mr. Kevin Rudd before the election that Australia would pursue a foreign policy independent of the United States, that we would not follow the US in making unilateral decisions about the future of our world. United Nations Resolution 1244 of June 1999 reaffirms the commitment of all member states to the sovereignty and territorial integrity of all states of the region, while calling for substantial autonomy and meaningful self-administration for Kosovo. The resolution even confirms that an agreed number of Serbian military and police personnel would be permitted to return to Kosovo to liaise with the international mission and to maintain a Serbian presence at cultural sites and border crossings. The Republic of Serbia has upheld its commitment to international law and the United Nations by offering Kosovo Albanians substantial autonomy, referred to as our government by everything short of independence. Serbian military and police personnel have not been allowed to return to Kosovo, allowing Albanian mobs to vandalise, burn and destroy ancient Serbian monasteries and churches, as well as hundreds of Serbian homes and villages. As a result of the blatant illegality of this declaration of independence, the United Nations Security Council met in an emergency session to decide on a united course of action. Needless to say, there was no decision made in favour of recognition. The following states, among them key trading partners and regional allies of Australia, have not recognised Kosovo: China, Russia, Indonesia, South Africa, Greece, Cyprus, Sri Lanka, Bulgaria, Romania, Slovakia, Spain, among others. The reasons vary. Some are worried about their own separatist movements. Some are unwilling to harm relations with Serbia. But the main concern is that the declaration is against international law and is not sanctioned by the United Nations. In granting almost immediate recognition to Albanian secessionists, the Rudd government has shown that it is not willing to continue Howard's commitment to the policy of Australia being the deputy sheriff to the United States in international relations. Instead of consulting our regional allies and trading partners, Rudd has continued Howard's tradition of arrogance and snobbery towards our neighbours and international institutions in following a diplomatic course of action laid out to him by none other than the United States. Criticised by leading ANU academic Mike McKinlay, who is surprised by our government's lack of consideration in making decisions and believes our relations with the aforementioned nations may be harmed, not to mention a severe blow with Australia's relations with Serbia, a fledgling democracy and one of the fastest growing economies in Europe. Unfortunately for the people of Australia, this course of action is not beneficial to us and may even be harmful. The so-called government of Kosovo is not run by peace-loving intellectuals and freedom fighters, but by former terrorists with direct links to international networks such as Al-Qaeda, fighting the war against. The current leadership of Kosovo have distanced themselves from Islamic extremism, but it is well documented that the Kosovo Liberation Army, as they were known before they dropped their camouflage and began dressing in suits, were funded and supported by Islamic groups. We should be more aware of this in Australia than anywhere else, as our homegrown Islamic militant David Hicks's first taste of jihad came in Kosovo, where he fought alongside the KLA against legitimate Serbian police and military personnel. 4 ethnic Albanians from Kosovo were at the heart of one of the most recently uncovered terrorist plots on US soil at Fort Dix in 2006. This begs the question, why are we fighting a war on terrorism in the Middle East when we are willing to recognise a state created by terrorism and its former allies in the heart of Europe? expressed concerns about the precedent being set by the recognition of Kosovo. Raju G.C. Thomas, an emeritus professor at Marquette University in the United States, writes that to allow Kosovo's independence would demonstrate that violent secessionism works, and I quote, "In that case, the world ought to get used to seeing the Kosovo strategy applied elsewhere. First, faceless ethnic secessionists attack civilians and police. Not knowing where the enemy is hidden within the civilian population, security forces retaliate indiscriminately. Human rights violations elicit an international outcry and condemnation, followed by intervention and occupation by foreign military forces. And in the denouement, the state loses control of its province as secessionists declare independence. There are many flashpoints around the world, including in our region, where this strategy could be applied. Who knows, 100 or 200 years down the track, a similar situation may even arise in Australia. With our own minorities, we should be particularly wary of letting the precedent be established that a national minority, being a majority in a particular region, may take up arms against the state in a struggle for independence. State sovereignty and international law must be upheld, and we as Australians must not bow to terrorist secessionism. Kosovo is spiritually, historically and legally the heart of Serbia.